Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never thought a wedding could change everything, but Emily's return that night proved me wrong. I had spent the entire weekend anticipating her stories, expecting laughter and pictures from a celebration that, until then, seemed harmless. Our daughter, Lily, had begged to hear about the dancing, the food, and the dresses. I sat at the kitchen table, 2 mugs of cocoa steaming in front of us. As she came through the door, her smile was brighter than usual, but there was something in her eyes, a mischief, a hesitation, that made my stomach tighten. At first, I tried to shrug it off. "Hey, you two had fun?" I asked casually, ruffling Lily's hair. Emily nodded, leaning down to kiss her on the forehead, and I felt a twinge of unease. Then she glanced at me. That glance, it wasn't the playful, loving look I was used to. It lingered, almost teasingly, as if she held a secret I wasn't meant to know. My pulse quickened, but I forced a calm smile. Maybe it was just excitement from the wedding, I told myself. Dinner was quiet. Lily chattered about a game she had played with the flower girl, the way she twirled the ribbon, the cake that had collapsed just before the bride blew out the candles. I listened, laughing when appropriate, tried to ignore the growing weight in my chest. Emily was unusually silent, picking at her salad with meticulous care. Occasionally, she would let out a soft sigh, not exhaustion, but something else, anticipation, perhaps, or longing. After dinner, Lily ran upstairs to change into her pajamas. Emily followed slowly, and I stayed behind, pretending to clear the table, but really just watching the way her fingers traced the edge of her wine glass. That's when I saw it. Her phone buzzing, her eyes lighting up with a smile meant for someone else. My stomach dropped. I tried not to overthink it. Maybe it was a friend, a distant cousin, someone from the wedding catching up. But the way she whispered under her breath, the way her lips curved just slightly when she read the screen, it was different. Not casual, not friendly. Something familiar, something intimate. I confronted her gently. "Everything okay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She froze for a moment, then laughed a little too loudly. "Yeah, just a message from work," she said. But I knew the difference between a work message and the warmth in her eyes that had just a moment ago been reserved for someone else. The night stretched long, filled with small, almost imperceptible signs. The way she hesitated before kissing me goodnight. The sigh when I asked if she wanted a drink. The avoidance of my gaze, replaced with a subtle texting hand under the covers. It felt like walking alongside a stranger in my own home. The next morning, the truth hit me like a punch I hadn't seen coming. Emily was moving slowly around the living room, humming a tune from the wedding, while Lily played quietly in the corner. And then I saw him, Mark. I didn't know how he got in, didn't know how long he had been waiting. All I knew was that in that moment, my life stopped. Emily reached for him instead of me. Not subtly, not accidentally. She crossed the room, brushing past me, and took his hand, squeezing it with familiarity I had only ever given to her. My daughter's eyes widened, confusion written across her face as she tried to understand why Mommy was holding someone else's hand. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. My mind raced, each heartbeat pounding with disbelief. The house felt colder than it had ever been. The love I thought was ours, the life we had built together, seemed to evaporate in that instant. And yet I stayed. I watched numb as Emily laughed at something Mark said, her head tilted back in a way she used to do only with me. When she finally noticed my presence, she froze for just a second. Then she smiled innocently, as if nothing had happened. "Honey, this is Mark," she said casually, introducing him to Lily like he was just another neighbor, another friend. I felt the weight of betrayal pressing down, suffocating. I wanted to speak, to yell, to demand answers, but I couldn't. Words felt meaningless against the reality of what I had just seen. Emily had made her choice in front of our daughter. She had reached for someone else, and the image would burn in my memory forever. I felt a cold clarity settle over me. This wasn't a fight, an argument, or a momentary lapse in judgment. This was the unveiling of a life I no longer belonged to. By the time the morning light spilled into the kitchen, I had made my decision. I would not beg, would not plead, would not try to reclaim what she had already given away. The house, the memories, the life we had shared, it was all gone, dissolved in the quiet chaos of her actions. I waited until Lily was safely in school, her small hand clasped in mine as I drove her to class, trying to shield her from the storm I was about to unleash. Then I came home, sat in the living room, and drafted the papers. Divorce. Filed. Final. No dramatics, no screaming, just a cold precision of action after realization. As I signed the last document, I felt a strange release, a bitter mixture of grief and relief. The home that had once been full of warmth now felt like an empty stage, the actors gone, leaving only the set. I thought of Lily and the life she deserved, one where betrayal wasn't a lesson she would learn from her parents. And for the first time in weeks, I breathed, not easy, not complete, but enough to understand one undeniable truth. Emily had chosen her path. I was choosing mine. The house was silent after I left the papers on the kitchen counter. Emily didn't notice at first. She was still moving to the morning haze, humming, checking her phone, blissfully unaware of the storm she had awakened. I packed a small bag, grabbed Lily's favorite blanket, and drove us to my brother's house. I didn't explain everything. Lily didn't need the details yet, but she sensed the tension, the quiet authority in my movements. That afternoon, Emily called. Her voice was light, cheerful, as if nothing had happened. "Where are you? Lily's homework?" she asked, trying to sound casual. I remained calm. "We're with my brother today. I'll bring her back later." No pleading, no explanation, only clarity. Her silence after that was telling. I didn't need confirmation of her guilt. The truth had played itself out in the living room, in front of my daughter's eyes. Yet even in my anger, I realized the weight of what I had to do next. Divorce was just the beginning. Custody, finances, protecting Lily from the shock and confusion. These were the battles that mattered now. Over the next few days, I coordinated with my lawyer, finalizing temporary arrangements. Emily called once, her voice trembling slightly. "Can we talk?" she asked. I felt the remnants of the woman I once loved in that tone, but it was too late. I answered evenly. "Everything goes to my attorney now." At Lily's school pickup the following week, she asked why Mommy seemed sad and why she hadn't come to our new home yet. I knelt beside her, holding her small hands, and explained as gently as I could. "Sometimes adults make choices that hurt others, sweetie. But you're safe and you're loved. That's what matters." Her small face scrunched up, and she hugged me tightly. In that embrace, I felt a mixture of heartbreak and resolve. Emily tried to interfere later, showing up at Lily's school, claiming she wanted to take her out. I didn't engage. I called my lawyer, who instructed me to document everything. Each attempt she made to sway or manipulate the situation only strengthened my resolve. She had chosen a life without me. I wasn't going to fight for a presence in hers that she no longer wanted. Then came the legal hearing. Emily arrived, her lawyer at her side, confident, polished. But I noticed her eyes darting nervously at me. It wasn't fear exactly, but a recognition that her control was no longer absolute. My attorney presented the facts calmly, the evidence clear. Her actions had broken the trust and emotional bond of the marriage, and our daughter's best interest requires stability and predictability. I watched Emily as she sat through the hearing, the confident mask slipping with every question. The reality I had faced in the living room that night now unfolded in court. Her choices had consequences. She had laughed in front of my eyes with another man, and now she had to face the repercussions of tearing our family apart. The judge ruled in our favor. Temporary custody granted to me, financial responsibilities outlined, boundaries clearly established. Emily's expression hardened, but I saw the disappointment beneath it. She wanted chaos, drama, and manipulation. I had given her none. I had given her the truth, the cold clarity she had forced upon me. After the hearing, I drove Lily home. She was quiet, thoughtful, processing the whirlwind that had entered her life. I held her hand tightly, and she leaned against me, trusting, innocent. In that moment, I realized that the future didn't have to be defined by betrayal, but by the choices I made from here on. Protection, love, and stability would be my guiding principles, not revenge. Weeks passed. Emily attempted minimal contact through lawyers, but her presence in our lives dwindled. She had made her decision. I focused on rebuilding, not just for me, but for Lily. Family dinners, weekend trips, bedtime stories. Rituals we once took for granted became sacred again. Her betrayal had left scars, yes, but it had also shown me the strength I possessed. One evening, as Lily drifted off to sleep, she whispered, "Daddy, I'm glad we're together." I felt my heart swell with a mix of relief and love, a sharp contrast to the emptiness I had felt just weeks ago. The home that had once been a stage of betrayal now resonated with honesty, safety, and connection. I understood, more deeply than ever, that love isn't just about shared memories. It's about presence, respect, and consistency. Emily tried to re-enter our world a few times, but each attempt reminded me why I had chosen the path I did. No excuses, no apologies, no manipulation. I had learned the hard way that boundaries aren't just lines, they're lifelines. By the time the divorce was finalized, I was no longer angry. Not entirely. There was grief, yes, for the love that had faded, but also clarity and freedom. Emily had chosen herself and another man. I had chosen my daughter, my dignity, and my life. The split wasn't just a legal separation. It was a rebirth of priorities, values, and understanding what truly mattered. Lily grew, unaware of the full scope of betrayal, but feeling the stability around her. And me? I found a strange peace in the silence she had once filled with deceit. The lesson was stark, painful, and undeniable. When someone reaches for another instead of you, especially in front of the one you both love, it's not just betrayal of trust. It's a signal that the story you once believed in has ended. And sometimes, ending it completely is the only way to reclaim life, love, and peace.